You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
All right, so Joe Biden finds himself now being accused by the now sitting lieutenant governor of the state of Nevada, if I'm not mistaken, of inappropriate touching, smelling, and whatever else he's alleged to have done to her back in 2014 during some sort of a campaign and election process. Joe Biden, vice president for Barack Hussein, the long-legged Mac Daddy Obama. And the story broke this weekend as Joe Biden is trying to apologize his way into getting in the race. He apologized for mishandling the chairmanship when Clarence Thomas was being accused by Anita Hill, that he didn't give Anita Hill her due. And he's apologizing for being a part of the Clinton, if you will, massive incarceration, massive imprisonment structure, or the crime bill that Bill Clinton passed, and perhaps a number of things that Biden is trying to bide his way out of. Biden my time, Joe Biden. And now he's getting hit with an inappropriate touching of this woman out there. And I think it's Nevada. She's the lieutenant governor. We got a tape here. Mr. Engineer, roll that clip and see what's being said about Joe Biden and on and on and on. It goes there.
Biden released a statement yesterday in response, and he said this in part: "In my many years on the campaign trail and in public life, I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort. And not once, never, did I believe I acted inappropriately. If it is suggested I did, I will listen respectively, but it was never my intention." During the conversation this morning is former presidential candidate, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, and Fox News contributor, columnist for The Hill, Liz Peek. It is great to have everybody here this morning.
Thank you.
This news coming in a very inopportune time for Joe Biden, just before he wants to announce that he's going to run for president, Liz.
Yeah, the problem is we've seen so many instances like this over the years, and he's gotten a pass time and time again when he leans in, he hugs people, he kisses them. You know, look, we don't really know whether anything ever came of any of this, whether people really were uncomfortable. This woman she was a Bernie Sanders supporter, so there's some back and forth about, was this the Bernie Sanders campaign? Was it Beto O'Rourke? She went to his rally over the weekend. Who knows? Maybe it was politically motivated, but the answer is it was creepy. Yeah. Bottom line, it was creepy.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, Governor.
Well, it is creepy, but I have to say, I don't think Joe Biden is a sexual predator. I think he's a creepy old guy who is a little hands-on and all that. But I mean, look, most of the things he's done in a very public place. It wasn't like he invited women up to a hotel room or an office by himself. This is stuff he's done with 1,000 cameras on him, and he did it anyway. So I just think this is Joe, and I kind of like the guy. You know, I mean,
I wouldn't think that Fox News would be coming to the aid of Joe Biden. Fox is all Republican all the time. Biden, of course, is a liberal to progressive, moderate Democrat, whatever he is. But it appears that to some degree they're trying to come to his aid, especially Mike Huckabee. We went so far as to confess that he likes the guy. I got a couple of things I like to say about this entire event. This is the woman who is now accusing Joe Biden. From what we understand, that this inappropriate behavior, whatever it was, took place back in 2014. Now, you and I today, this may view sometime future in the tribulation. This is not 2019. That's 5 years ago, right? Why the hell did she say something about 5 years ago? I mean, why wait till now? Don't you think that if she was made feel uncomfortable when it happened, pardon me, if she was made to feel uncomfortable when it happened, why didn't she report it then? He was vice president at that time. At least she could have made some hay out of it then. Joe Biden smelled my hair. That's what she said. He was a hair snifter. That's what she says. So I'm trying to figure out, why now? And I think other people are looking at the timing of this. Is she trying to take Joe Biden out the race and give the head of the pack to Bernie Sanders or Beto O'Rourke, trying to get the old man out? And this is a way to do it? It certainly looks that way to a whole lot of people. Some people just don't smell right, you know. It just doesn't. If it was offensive to her 5 years now, why it should have been? You know, you get the idea, right? I don't have to repeat myself. Now, Biden may have actually smelled her hair. He may have done that. I don't know. Maybe the guy's into smelling people's hair. I don't know. You know, maybe he did, you know, put his hands on her somewhere. You know, I guess you can't put your hands on a woman's shoulder. I hope you can still put your hands on your woman's shoulder. I remember, you know, Corey Lewandowski put his hands on a woman following Trump. He grabbed her, you know. So this is a way to raise some suspicions about Biden's sexual integrity, right? I think that we're probably looking at a woman who now wants to use an incident that she wasn't bothered by 5 years ago to now raise as an issue that to help to take Biden out the race. I think it's a weapon. I think she, I don't mean to be disrespectful or contemptible or proud or against women, but I think, women can weaponize sex. And they can weaponize your approach. And I think Joe Biden's, approach is that she's weaponizing her sexual, whatever it is, rights. Now it's a weapon, but it wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a weapon 5 years ago. I'd be concerned about that. I think that the very fact that Fox News is coming to her aid, I suspect they're doing that because they want to support Trump too, because they know Trump's the worst of this type of a character and behavior. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if Joe's going to get in the race. I really don't care. A lot of people say Joe has been apologized for being white because, most of the people running in the race now are either something else other than white. He's apologized for being a man. He's apologizing to Anita Hill. Now he's got to apologize to this woman. My God, he's on been on an apology tour. Is he going to still get in the race? I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't care one way or the other. At a later date, not today, we'll talk more about where we see this whole process going anyway. But, this is a weapon that's now being used against him. And I would, if you're innocent, stand strong. Don't move. And I think that we have just gotten information about a woman who accused the lieutenant governor of the state of Virginia of raping her when she was at Duke University. Said he raped her. Y'all remember this going back to the governor down there in Virginia was walking around in blackface, right? Dancing the Michael Jackson moonwalk in a contest down in Dallas. And he was accused of blackface. This is going back a couple of months now. And then, so the plot thickened for the governor to resign, step down, he didn't. And then a story came out by this woman who was a Hamite woman who said that this lieutenant governor raped her in a hotel room somewhere. And so I think we got the polygraph reports. And it says the lieutenant governor is, at least the report says that he didn't do it. So, Mr. Engineer, roll that clip.
The sexual assault allegations against Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. He denies those claims and now has taken a polygraph test, and the results are in. Jeff Paul is in our West Coast newsroom with more. Hey, Jeff.
Arthel, Fairfax's office just released a statement saying polygraph examinations show the lieutenant governor was truthful when denying if he ever engaged in non-consensual sexual activity with Vanessa Tyson or Meredith Watson. It goes on to say, quote, the polygraph examinations also demonstrated that Lieutenant Governor Fairfax was telling the truth when he denied specific allegations that have been made by Dr. Tyson and Ms. Watson. The statement from Fairfax's office comes as interviews from both women are set to air over the next few days. Tyson says Fairfax sexually assaulted her in 2004. Watson says Fairfax raped her while they were students at Duke University. CBS released a portion of Tyson's interview where she says she'd be willing to testify under oath before the Virginia General Assembly.
In my ideal world, I'd want him to resign. Like, there's a million reasons not to come forward, right? It's tough, I'm not gonna lie. And particularly for survivors, I think this is incredibly important. They need to be heard. We need to be seen, right? And we need to be treated as the human beings that we are.
Both women came forward earlier this year, shortly after there were calls for Virginia Governor Ralph Northam to resign over a racist photo that was on Northam's old yearbook page. Fairfax has denied the allegations and also called for a full investigation. Here he is speaking on the Virginia Senate floor last month.
If we go backwards and we rush to judgment and we allow for political lynchings without any due process, I want to stand in this moment in the truth.
While the statement from Fairfax's office says the polygraphs show his denials are truthful, it's important to note that polygraphs are not admissible in any Virginia courts.
What I was about to open up this segment with, close my segment with, is that Perry Mason, y'all know him, Perry Mason. Perry Mason said that a polygraph is not admissible in court. That, I mean, you can take the polygraph and say yes or no, yeah, you know, but it can't be presented as evidence in a court of law. It just cannot be relied upon. So the very fact that the polygraph test exonerates Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax does not mean that he's truly exonerated. But you know, there are a couple of things I'd like to examine here. Number one is that he was willing to take a polygraph test. That's number one, which goes to his credibility. And number two is that he said that the women are accusing him of rape, which is pretty heinous, and sexual assault, which is, you know, just a step down below that. And these events happened years ago from what we're trying to determine here. And it is their intent to, I think I see the same thing, weaponizing sex to take down someone. Now, you know, he may have raped her. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. He may have. Or he may have sexually assaulted at school, like Judge Kavanaugh, you know, and the doctor that alleged him that he sexually assaulted her. These things may have actually taken place. They actually may have taken place. But the question, I think the large question out here now is that the observations that for many years, and probably many years too many, men have been able to get away with treating women on the sexual level as if they are subhuman, that they're objects, that they can be treated any kind of way, mainly because the man has the larger shoulders, he has the larger biceps and larger calves, he is stronger than he, and so for many years, it's been sort of the caveman mentality with respect to sex. Unlike my friend James Spears, who says he's a lover. He likes to talk. Women likes to talk to people. You know, talk to the woman. But this has been the ongoing for millennia after millennia after millennia, and we know that. We know that men have done this for years. So, and there's a lot of water that has gone under the bridge. Of men sexually assaulting women, raping women. When I was growing up in North Carolina, some of my friends did what they call as pulling a train on a young girl and left her devastated for life, because it was several of them, that happened. So there's no doubt about that this is taking place. And then one other thing I need to throw this in is that I'm probably the skin color that I am because somewhere down the line, way down the line, somebody, Japheth, got a hold of some sister that was later either my grandmother, or great-grandmother, or great-great-great-great-great-great. Somebody did something that changed my color like this. So, and I don't think it was consensual. I think it was a matter of the woman being the property of the slave owner, or whatever, I don't know. Maybe I remember my sister, Barbara, who left home at 16 years old to go to work as a sleep-in maid for a couple out in Long Island, And during those years, the young girls in the house would just open prey to the man of the house. He could have sex with them anytime he want. Everybody know what happened to Arnold Schwarzenegger and his maid. He had a Mexican maid out there in his house in California. Y'all know that? He made her pregnant, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there's no doubt about it. There's been a lot of rape. There's been a lot of sexual assault. There's been a ton of it. But I would say to every woman, don't try to make Justin Fairfax or Joe Biden pay for what's happened years and years and years ago. That's my point, all right? I'm not trying to exonerate Joe. I'm not trying to exonerate Justin Fairfax. I'm not trying to exonerate. I'm simply saying the Me Too movement, don't try to make a man today. I'm still upset about what happened to Al Franken, you know, and Kristen Gillibrand or whoever it is. I pray to God she don't get nowhere near the president's office because she ran out there right there when Al Franken was accused of touching that woman's breast, and they had a picture of it, you know. And Al Franken got taken out of the Senate just like that. And a lot of people are upset about that. They're still upset with Kristen Gillibrand for running out there and accusing Al Franken. I'm simply saying, you know, if you're going to, for the Me Too movement and everybody else, if you're going to do it, don't try to make don't try to make Joe Biden and Justin Fairfax pay for what men have done hundreds of years ago, what Jack the Ripper did. You know, don't try to make them pay. Be just about it. And this woman that's accusing Joe Biden, I'm not for Joe Biden. He was an Obama. You know I ain't for him. But you ought to step back and say, wait a minute, I didn't do anything 5 years ago. What am I doing now? You know, and somebody ought to remind her, you know, and plus it gets you a lot of publicity. It gets you on talk shows and on television. People get to know your name, you know. There need to be a balance here, I would think. And I'm glad Justin Fairfax, you know, took a polygraph. And so now the women are going on television anyway. And this happened allegedly years and years and years and years ago. There should be a statute of limitations, you know, on this whole process. So I suspect that, you know, men need to pay for what they've done to women over the years. There's no doubt about it. Women have been abused, bastardized, raped, and played. But I think that the matter of being handled this way, I think it's being handled in ways that is probably just weaponizing rather than using the truth. At any rate, I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. I don't really care what happened to Joe Biden. Biden my time. 74-year-old white man. How you gonna beat Cory Booker or Beto O'Rourke? By the way, this guy Buttigieg, what kind of name is that anyway? Buttigieg. Where you get a name from like that? Buttigieg. And you know, I was looking at this the other day. I was thinking to myself, I said, this is Joe Biden, right? Why come nobody never accused Obama of nothing, right? Reggie Love probably could have done it. What was my friend? Larry Sinclair. Larry Sinclair and Obama had a steamy love affair. And you know, I was Obama and Jussie Smollett, you know. Obama and Jussie Smollett are lovers. At least that's what the side of the story goes. Obama bought his lover, Jussie, a brand new suit of clothes. Yes, it was. Obama and Jussie Smollett. Okay. Singing. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.